guys, Adam here, Blackfyre Productions, and I am back with another World War Marvel, and today we are going to be doing a tactical video on Venom. So we're going to dive into the tactics that I think is good to use with Venoms. I shouldn't say is good, that just sounded really terrible. So we're going to dive into the tactics cards, allies to take with Venom, as well as scenarios in where you want to use Venom. So without further ado, let's dive into the tactics cards and our tactical review for Venom. Alright guys, so here we are with the tactics review, or tactics discussion for Venom. So since Venom has came out, I have probably used him in almost every game that I've played so far. Maybe one or two games that I have not used him. I think he's been, well, he is one of my favorite models, one of my favorite characters, and he's really been performing very well for me at the 4 threat level. So let's take a look at, if you haven't seen a Venom model, obviously there it is. There's a bunch of guys online that have been doing conversions for Venom. So Jason over at Splintered Brush Studios has done one where the head of Eddie Brock is coming out of Venom's mouth. Super, 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 super cool. I seen another photo online recently where this Venom was turned into like anti-Venom. So he's like all white with a black spider symbol, and his symbiote is like coming and going all over the place. It's awesome. A ton of saliva. I haven't actually done the saliva. I made some saliva strands using cotton, as well as, I cannot remember the technical paint from GW, but it's like a green technical paint. I almost want to say like Nurgle's Rot, I think is what it's called. And so on the cotton strands, I just started putting varnish on it so it would like bead, and then I put that Nurgle's Rot over top of it, and then a little bit of varnish, like a gloss varnish on it, just to give it that extra little bit of like wetness, that shine to it. But yeah, I haven't actually attached them to Venom, and I've just been doing other things. So let's look at Venom's card first off before we get into anything else. So Venom's card, if you have not seen it, there it is. 7 stamina on the healthy side. He's size or movement short, size 3, and has a 4 threat value. Defenses are 4, 2, and 3. He has a symbiote tendrils, which is a 5 damage attack at range 3, cost 0 power. You gain power back for each damage you deal, as well as the target then get the bleed special condition after this attack has been resolved. Then he has his second physical attack, which is range 3, strength 7, power 3 to use. We are Venom. After this attack resolved, this character removes 1 damage from itself for each damage it inflicted. So that is huge for Venom, and why he's been performing so well for me, I think, in games. So his first ability is the Clintar Rage, which is basically his throw. So you can pick up objects that are size 3 or less that are within 3 inches of you, so like range 2, and you can throw it medium. So you can throw things quite the distance, and good size things too. So it's basically, if you're picking up the size 3, you're doing 4 damage with it. So if you're picking up like a size 3 character or item, potential, I should say, up to 4 damage based off your character your target saving or making its dodge rolls. He has Web Snare, which is huge. So when you look at his, everybody like looking at his short movement there. Two things that overcome that is his base size, right? His base size helps overcome that. And then this superpower, Web Snare, it is an active superpower. So basically, push an enemy target, or enemy character, sorry, within range 4 towards this character, medium. That character can only be pushed by the superpower once a turn. So that basically helps overcome his shortness and allows him to get into combat that much sooner. I think Venom is sort of like a controller bruiser type, and I say controller because of that push ability, and I say he's a bruiser because for whatever reason, like he just does tons of damage, as well as this bleed effect and the throwing ability. Like he can be for 4 threat. For 4 threat, he just does a ton of work and a ton of damage. And it's nothing to sneeze at. If you see a Venom across the board, you should probably want to deal with it outside of range 3, because we have so many snacks. So after an attack against this character is resolved, it may use this superpower. If the attacker is within range 3, this character may make an attack against that attacker. This superpower can only be used once per turn. So with that said, if you after he takes attack and the target is within range 3 and he uses that, we can then, if you have the power, turn around and use We Are Venom and hopefully deal a ton of damage to your opponent and heal some of that damage that he took back after We Are Venom. So, and even then, you can still do symbiote tendrils and cause the target to bleed if you don't have the power to do We Are Venom, and then hopefully he'll have a tough choice whether to take that status effect and get rid of it by doing a shake action, or to take that damage and do whatever his second action is. Or maybe you use the symbiote tendrils on after your opponent's second action with whatever character he's using, and he has a bleed effect, so it's like an instant damage on top of whatever damage you would deal with symbiote tendrils. So he's going to be doing a ton of damage through those capabilities. But what is also really good is symbiotic instincts. When this character is attacking, the defending character cannot modify their dice rolls at all. So it means you don't get to add in any rerolls from abilities or anything along those lines, which is super, super good. It's just, it means what damage is going through is more likely, like, or what damage you've rolled is more likely to go through because your opponent can't change the facing of those dice or modify it in any means. And then he has Wall Crawler to allow him to climb, which makes complete sense. So on the flip side, he does have 6 stamina instead of 7, but everything else stays the same. So in total, like 17 damage, or 13 damage, sorry, that he can take for a 4 threat value character. I think it's amazing. I think he does, like I said, you can go back and look at our battle reports, and you can see that he constantly is performing in my battles that I use him, and I love him. I love him. So affiliation-wise, what affiliations you want to take him with? I ideally would imagine that you would want to take him either with a Avengers or a Cabal list. Avengers, because all of his reaction, like the so many snacks, will cost 1 less, as well as Web Snare will cost 1 less, and so those are both going off at 1 power apiece. And then you have Clintar Rage, which you're throwing for 2 power at that point in time. So that's super awesome. It really gives him the ability to be economical with his power resource. But on the flip side, Cabal gives you an extra power every time you're damaging somebody. So that's huge. So if you do have the power, 2 power to use so many snacks, and you do damage your opponent, you're gaining that much more power because you're getting that many more attacks in. But with that said, again, you got to have that base power with Venom to be able to use the so many snacks and be able to retaliate with your own attack, and that's why I think that I would probably take him in the Avengers list over Cabal. Yeah, Cabal's good, don't get me wrong, but I just think due to the abilities that you're wanting to use, that extra power or the power reduction is going to be good. The Asgardian ability, I think that allows you to get rid of a status effect and heal 1 damage. Always going to be great. And then the Wakanda is a reroll, so that's going to be helpful too, but I think I would stick with either Cabal or Avengers for Venom. Targets that you might want to stay away from when coming to the field with Venom. Obviously, you can look at it as energy stat, and you know that it's his weakness right away, and it makes sense for the comics. So you're going to want to stay away from people like, Captain Marvel, Iron Man, stuff like that. Iron Man, for a second reason, is because he can sit back while anybody that has like the range 4 attacks, like Okoye has a range 4 energy attack. Shuri has her energy attack, but it's only going to do 1 damage. Where's does she have 2? I can't remember. I don't have the cards in front of me at the moment, the other character cards. But yeah, so you want to stay away from people that have those energy attacks, and secondly, the people that, and Vision, you want to keep them away from Vision too, with this Beam 4, and then you want to stay away from attacks that are outside of range 3, so like the range 4 or 5 attacks, where you can't retaliate back. That's how you're going to be dealing with Venom, and that's what you need to be mindful of, is either keep him completely out of range of all of those attacks, or find a means to get him in on those people so they're not at that distance, and then anytime you are targeted, you can use the so many snacks, as well as, hopefully, if you have the power, We Are Venom. And that's how he's been alive and kept alive for me. So let's look at the objective. So I think Venom performs better with extraction, or is more of a focus. Not to take anything away, not saying that he can't do the work for the secure objectives, but extraction objectives, I think he's going to be shining just a little bit more when he's focused on that. So I'll show you a couple here that I think sort of go with Venom well, or can work with Venom. He'll be good with these crisis cards. So the Mystic Wakandan Herbs, factor fishing. So the big thing with this, the reason why I think that he's going to be good with this one is you got to grab that the objective. So like, I'm not saying that he's going to get across that board and grab the herb from the other side of the board, but if he can get the herb, I think it's going to be great, because A, you're more likely to stay alive when you factor in the We Are Venom and everything else, and that's why I think he's good for the extraction crisis cards, is because he's more likely to stay alive with sustained people targeting him. And so with this crisis card in general, you only get one move with the crisis when you have the herb, sorry, and you get immunity to slow and stagger. But your damage isn't physical damage, which all of his attacks are physical, goes up by 1. And that one move isn't as big of an issue if you're wanting to still be able to target an opponent, because you're going to still be able to use your web snare, bring that target closer, and be able to strike with your range 3 attacks, because his range 3 attacks are great when you think that it's a fifth of the board, basically, that you're targeting with that range 3 attack. So so this being able to only move once doesn't impede him as much as it would other people that are need to be moving and agile and stuff along those lines. But yeah, so the extraction, I think he's just, like I said, survivable and good at holding those and getting him across the board, because he does have that ability to regenerate his health and everything else. So like Scrawls, again, your movement goes down to short. So if you can get him to find the Scrawl somehow, his movement's already short, so it's not really going to be hampering him as much as, say, somebody like Black Panther or Black Widow that moves long. Spider-Man, you know, that's a drastic change in their playability and how they're supposed to be playing, where Venom's just going to continue to perform as Venom performs. So I think he'll be good, really good in a Skrulls crisis event. And then this last one as well, you're going to be taking damage for holding the core. So you can make, a character holding the core cannot perform more than one move action per turn. We already covered that. One move for him is still okay, because he can still attack. And then if you didn't attack, yeah, so when a character ends his activation when holding the core, it suffers 1 damage if it didn't attack. So it still, again, allows you to do that attack and be able to or hold that objective and still be able to attack because of the range of all your strikes and everything. So I think that's really a couple of the ones that he's going to shine on as well. Is it the struggle for the cubes continue, I think, is the other one, where he's going to be like taking damage from holding these cubes, but because of the We Are Venom, he should be able to maintain his health a little bit more. So I think extraction cards are going to be his jam over secure cards. When you're looking at secure cards, you might be looking at somebody that has like a long range shot, like a Shuri, being able to hang back and still affect things. A Winter Soldier that has a 5 range assault rifle attack, stuff like that. Those are the people that are going to be shining on the secure, where I think his role in a game should be some of these extraction crisis events. And that will change it probably based on the cards, but I just think at where we stand at this point in time, with the Asgardians just coming out, and I only have 5 crisis cards for extraction, and I think 4 for secure at this point in time, I think he's shining with the extractions that are currently out. So some of the tactics cards that we should be using with him, in my opinion, and the first one is a given. It's going to be a recalibration matrix. So basically, if somebody spikes their dice on an energy attack, use this, have them re-roll it. It might save you a Venom at some point in time. So the other thing is disarm. I like disarm for really anybody, but basically, if you know that you're going to be going up against a guy that uses a high output energy or high damage output energy attack, you and an ally can both spend a power each and subtract 2 dice from their dice roll on that. So that's super, super awesome. So disarm. Lethal Protector. This is, I think, one of the best cards that we can use for Venom. So when an enemy character targets an allied character within range 3 of an allied Venom with an attack, Venom may spend 2 power to play this card. Place Venom within range 1 of that allied character, so you get that extra movement, which sort of helps overcome that short movement that we were talking about earlier. And then target becomes the Venom becomes the target of the attack, regardless of range or line of sight. So, which is super awesome. So you can put them within range 1 of your allied character, which then you might be able to get that much close to an objective or into a better position for striking that. But after you do like his bodyguarding, that's when you're going to be using like We Are Venom and hopefully doing that much damage back. And so like it's just like same reason why I have like sacrifice as well. So if an allied character within range 2 of another allied character is targeted by an enemy attack, those allied characters may spend 1 power each to play this card. The non-targeted allied character immediately becomes the target of the new target of the attack, regardless of range and line of sight. It cannot add additional defense dice to defense roll and cannot modify its dice during this attack. So sacrifice is really cool, but I think he's like, you want him to sort of be taking hits to sort of capitalize on his damage output with the so many snacks and stuff like that. I'll go into a few other things that afterwards when we finish the tactics, such as like models that you might want to take with Venom just in case. So you have Uneasy Allies. This is just like a very fun thematic card. I have used Spider-Man and Venom in one game together, but I have not pulled off Uneasy Allies. So during the activation, when a Spider-Man or Venom targets an enemy character with an attack that is within range 2 of another allied character, both characters may suffer 1 damage to play this card. Add 3 dice to the attack roll. So that's huge for bumping up Venom's damage. So like, he's okay taking damage because of his abilities to heal and stuff. Spider-Man not as much, but you got things that can overcome that, such as patch up and stuff like that. But that 3 dice of damage on a We Are Venom, you're just going to heal everything back anyway, so who really cares at that point in time? You have Battle Lust, so at the end of a move action made during an allied character's activation, this moving character may spend power equal to his size to play this card. You then, the next attack made by the moving character, this activation adds dice equal to its size. If the attack deals damage after the attack is resolved, push the target character away short. So it's another push option to control the board, which is great because when you combine that with Web Snare, but on top of that, he's size 3, so it's 3 damage. If you say pair this up with Uneasy Allies, adding 3 dice to it, as well as this, like it's going to be huge. So if we're using We Are Venom, that's 13 dice of damage from Venom. He's going to take somebody down, I think, with that, and then heal a ton of damage back. So like that's a huge card, and it's the same reason why I took 1-2 puncher. So just 1-2 punch. This again is increasing the damage. So he is that brawler that on the field, like he wants to deal the damage, wants to hurt his opponents, but yet at the same time he also has that board control with the web snare and such, and the capability to throw. So like so 1-2 punch where you and another allied character within range 2 of the same enemy both spend a power, then you add 2 dice to the attack roll. So like it's just, you're gonna really want to up his damage output, and that's just another means to do it. And then you have patch up. Obviously, if there is a time where you need to keep Venom alive because he did not roll well on his attack, maybe We Are Venom, and did not heal, patch up, because you always want to keep Venom alive. Always, 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 in my opinion. Keep him alive, keep him going, because he will help serve your ends, or means to your ends, basically. A couple of things with other characters. Red Skull, if you're going to be using Venom and Red Skull's on the board, he has the, what is it? Is it the Master of the Cube? Choose another allied character within range 4 of this character and place it within range 2 of its current position. Character can only be placed by the superpower only once a turn. So, again, that range 2 of its current position is basically like a short movement. So it's just going to help with Venom and overcoming his short movement and distance issues. And again, you look at Web Snare, does the exact same thing. It helps him overcome that movement. And then the Hulk with like Gamma Launch. You're going to be placing the allied character within range 5 of his current position. So like wherever you want him to be, say he's in a position and you have the Hulk and Venom both on your team for whatever reason, the point cost. Hulk can pick him up and throw him to a completely different position on the board, which is huge. You can get out of range of somebody that has an energy attack that you don't want to be around, or you can get into a position where there's so many targets for all of his juicy attacks that he has. I like to run him with a bodyguard, so I sort of like do like a double bodyguard setup, because I usually will have like lethal protector out on top of say running him right alongside Captain America or something like that, or an Okoye for a cheaper bodyguard cost or cost option. So what I like to do is, like, if there is a big attack coming at him, I'll keep that bodyguard there to take the attack, obviously. But then, you know, like, it'll be like what I did with him on a game on the weekend at the game stay that I was helping run at Critical Hit Gaming Lounge in Curtis, Ontario. I ran him, Captain America, and Iron Man in a group across the board, and basically everybody turned towards him, well, that group of the three of them, and started trying to attack him. But between the double bodyguarding options, it really made some tough decisions happen for my opponent, because he wasn't sure, like, he'd want to target a set individual, but then I was able to bodyguard with somebody else, and it's always good to bodyguard with him to be able to pull off the like, you know, we are so many snacks and stuff like that. So it was the double bodyguard was really cool. And actually, talking about double bodyguard, there was an FAQ as well that just came out recently, where it said you can, like, bounce the bodyguard from one another. So if, like, Captain America's within range 2 of Iron Man, he bodyguards, and Venom's within range 2, you know, then all of a sudden Venom, who wasn't in range 2 of Iron Man, becomes the new target, because you bounced it off that way, because you can sort of chain the bodyguard effects, I believe. At least that's the way it's looking. And then he can, again, take his extra attacks. I always try to get this guy to be doing the attacks whenever possible. But that is it, I think. I hope you guys enjoyed the tactics video for Venom today and our little discussion. If you have any comments or anything, leave those down below. Please check out our Patreon link, also in the description of the video down below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, definitely do. Go back, watch our other videos on Marvel Crisis Protocol. We have been trying to support this game since it came out, even really before it came out, and like I said, I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's a favorite of mine at this point in time. I love the easiness of this game. Like, it's a super fun and easy game. It's not like rules heavy, but it doesn't lose its playability and fun factor for not being a rules heavy game. And the developer team, all of them over at Atomic Mass Games, have done great in supporting the community and really making this game into something special. Like, I feel like I am playing Venom when I'm playing Venom on my team. So guys, thank you for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, ignite your hobby.